Hey guys, Charles Osterlund here with Liquid Blue Cabarete in Cabarete, Dominican Republic. And we've been receiving some questions about what's the right wing for me. And in our specific case, we're talking about the F1 swing. So all this information is going to be in regards to my experience as well as the information that comes off of the F1 swing. When you're looking at different brands, you have to remember that they're going to be offering something different. So it's always good when you're when you're trying to figure out what equipment to use for yourself to refer to that company or that brand for those details, because they do vary slightly from company to company. So, what is the ideal wing for you? Well, that depends on many factors. That depends on your athleticism, that depends on your conditions, and of the water and the wind, and as well your weight. So for someone who is heavier, you might be familiar that you're going to need bigger equipment. So that means a board with more volume, a bigger wing, and potentially a bigger hydrofoil. If you're someone on the lighter side or smaller, you're going to go the opposite direction for something of a smaller hydrofoil, smaller board, as well as a smaller wing. In this case, we're going to be sharing some information that you can find online as well as on our blog or in the description below, which is information that you can find on the F1 website and in regards to the Swing V1. So basically, there is now 6 wings in the lineup. This chart that you see right here is going to be put down in case you want to check it out later, but there's basically 6 wings in the lineup. For Cabarete, we're using the 4.2, 5.0, and 6.0 primarily, though you also have a 2.2, 2.8, and a 3.5 square meter wing available. The wind ranges go from around 8 knots all the way up to 50 knots, which is completely insane. But for us in Cabarete, we're dealing with winds of around this range of 8 to 25 year round. We might have those occasional days of 30 knots, but those are a minority and not a majority. So with that being said, when you're looking at a wing on the biggest side, which is the 6.0, you're going to be looking at the lightest possible conditions, which is around those 8 knots. You could most likely go in less wind, but this is the recommended wind. So anywhere from 8 knots up to 20 knots is what they're recommending the 6 meter for. Now when you go down one size to the 5.0, that's going to be 12 to 25. And then the 4.2, which is around 15 to 30. This is why I mentioned that the 4.2 and up is plus or minus the wing you're going to want to be using if you're living in Cabarete, just because that's the wind range. Now, on those days that are 20 knots and more, you'll be able to choose the 3.5, which works in 20 to 35 knots, or the 2.8, which is 25 to 42 knots. The 2.2 will seldomly be used, maybe not even ever, which is 30 to 50 knots plus. So with that being said, when you're thinking of which wing to get for yourself, you're really going to want to know yourself and know your conditions. Basically, for me, I think my ideal 3 wings would be a 4.2, 5.0, and a 6.0. Maybe when my level gets better, I could probably use even a smaller one like a 3.5, a 5, and a 6. Though for right now, the 4.2, 5.0, and the 6.0 is going to be the ideal. When you're looking for get into the sport, you're not going to want to be underpowered. So that means you don't want to aim for small gear like light board or small boards in volume, small hydrofoils, and small wings. This is going to make your life a lot more difficult. Yes, you might see some pros that are using very small equipment, but you have to remember, those guys are pros and they're doing things that not many people are doing. For the majority of people, you're going to want to find gear that makes your life easier so that you can have a better overall experience when you're out in the water. So with that being said, make sure when you're thinking about which wing to get for yourself to look at the wind conditions at the spot you're going to be using, as well as your athleticism and your weight, and then fine-tuning your wing with your board and your hydrofoil, because all this comes into play. So you can't just look at one element while ignoring the others. So with that being said, make sure you check out the chart, and as well, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments or send us a message and we'll try to get back to you. Though it's really important to sort of combine all of these factors together so that you can pick the right equipment for yourself. With all that being said, I hope this video has shed some light and given you some useful information. Have fun, good luck, and enjoy the water.